Hi everybody, Ty Rogers here, the founder and CEO of Higher Up Staffing and Recruiting. And I just want to say, thank you all for continuing to check out my vlog here on Higher Up. It's been great getting feedback from you guys and gals. And, honestly, it helps me grow as an educator, but most importantly, it helps to keep me inclined with delivering relevant and tangible content. So today we're going to be looking at, the topic of what to do if you don't get a pay raise and opening up that dialogue to your manager of how to get a pay raise. And so obviously, finances play as an intricate part of our employment, but arming yourself with some verbal ammunition, so to speak, to go into that conversation with is what we're going to be exploring today, and how to pivot based off the situation and the outcome to kind of set yourself up for success in the future of the next step. So with no further ado, let's jump right in. So first off, it's never a good idea to expect a raise. Now, what I mean by that is putting yourself in that frame of reference or that mental state where you're, automatically thinking that you're going to get a raise, or based off of the last 6 months, that it's coming, or because you didn't get one last year, you think you're due for one. You want to hit the brakes on that a little bit. And the reason I say that again is because there might be, in fact, there are in most cases and in most companies, factors on the back end that you're not completely aware of that contribute to the raise even being a possibility to begin with. Things like your performance numbers, things like your time and job, things like your attendance. If the shift starts at 7, are you showing up at 6:55 a.m. or are you showing up at 6:30, 6:20? Things like the revenue that your company is generating. So, things like employee headcount. There are a ton, and that's just a few of factors that directly contribute to the manager's ability or inability to either give you a raise or not. So before you put yourself in that mental state of mind and start to assume that you're getting one, slow down. That might not be the case. I've gotten the question of, should I ask for a raise, or at what point do I ask for a raise? And my answer is usually the same. Traditionally, it's not a good practice to ask for a raise. With that said, KYA, know your audience. If you've built a strong, trustworthy, working relationship with your higher up, no pun intended, and you are able to ask at the correct time and manner, and most importantly, you're asking the right person, it can be an unchallenging conversation to have, sure. I do want to note something though. You want to do this practice at your own risk because it can backfire. There are instances in workplaces where an inquiring employee will go to an individual thinking it's the right person to have the conversation with, or they mistime it. It's right after a meeting, right before a meeting, sometimes even within the meeting, hopefully not, but it's mistimed and it creates an uncomfortable position for you and the manager that you're approaching the conversation with. Not only that, it's going to get back around into the workplace and potentially spread amongst other colleagues. So it can create a very uncomfortable working position for you and all those involved and all those around you. So be extremely cautious if you're going to inquire about your compensation. So you've been at the company for 2.5 years, you're a high performer, your attendance is great, but you haven't received the raise yet, nor have you had the conversation. What does that mean? Chances are you are receiving a raise. In fact, every year employers are required by law to allot at least a 2% annual increase to all employees, regardless of individual or company performance. These will be increases anywhere between 2 and 6%, and sometimes they're called merit increases or cost of living adjustments. And so you want to know that beforehand going into the conversation. The other thing is this: you can, like I said earlier, ask for a raise. It's just you want to know all the factors going into the conversation before you enter the room with your manager. Okay, so you've asked for the pay raise from your company and they said no. what do you do next? So the first thing I'll tell you is don't feel or don't get discouraged, okay? This is a common theme or a common practice for a lot of companies. And, some employers will do and say what they can to not relinquish the funds to you. And a lot of times they'll even go a step further and say things like, we just don't feel like you've earned it yet. This is the direct decision that some hiring managers will land on. And it's a harsh yet true reality. So what's the solution to not getting the raise that you inquired about and feel like you deserve? Well, first things first, case dependent, but you got to start shopping around. You got to beef up your resume, get it all polished and tidied up. You've got to sign up for high quality job boards. You've got to make sure that, recruiters and LinkedIn know that you're open to work. And again, this is case variant, because if you've been with a company for 2.5+ years, yeah, it's time to maybe perhaps look elsewhere and kind of see if there's other things, other opportunities out there where, you can continue to grow and develop your professional portfolio, but you can also get closer to that financial goal that you want. But if you've been with the company for, I would say, a year or two, maybe 2 years or less, you got to fill that one out. It's going to be different because you're in a completely different situation. You don't have as much leverage as you think you do for truly getting the raise that you want. So now, if you've been in a job for less than 2 years and you're, again, exceeding or just crushing these, job expectations that your manager laid out, and it's documented and you can prove it, yeah, I think that, shopping around is a strong solution for you to consider as well too. So that would be one of the first things that I would go to is to do things to get your name and professional portfolio and background visible to individuals and potential new employers to seek you out. And of course, the inverse to needing to ask for a raise in the beginning is you, in the front end of before you start the job, is ask for the higher salary in the beginning. So as an example, the base rate is 105, okay? In the back of your mind, before you accept the job, that you're gonna ask for a raise in 6 months or a year or so, right? You're gonna ask for 10% increase, 15% increase. So my theory is this: instead of waiting months and months down the road to ask for that kick, why not negotiate it on the front end before you accept the job, and negotiate the higher salary and have evidence to support your reasoning, your claims to why you deserve and want that higher salary of 115, 120. Because here's what you're going to do. You're going to create and show the potential new employer that you've got grit, sure, and you've got confidence, most importantly, by backing yourself up with strong reasons and strong claims as to how and why you deserve the higher compensation. And you will get to see the true colors of the potential new employer and what they're made out of. Are they going to just give it to you right away? Or are they going to, play the game with you and kind of go tick for tat and match with you? Or are they going to just flat out tell you no because, they don't have the flexibility that you want them to for the compensation structure? All those things, though, as far as on the front end of the negotiation, is done before you actually start the job. But it can alleviate a lot of headache in a lot of cases. So in conclusion, there's really 5 key takeaways from today's conversation. Number 1, only ask for a pay raise knowing all the risk and reward factors. Number 2, ensure that you've provided significant value to the organization before the topic. Number 3, KYA, know your audience. Make sure you ask the right person at the right time. Number 4, negotiate the higher salary in the beginning and support your reasoning with strong evidence as to why you deserve and want the higher salary. And number 5, if you get told no or not yet to the pay raise conversation and you feel you deserve it, it's time to move on, both diligently and respectfully. Thanks for tuning in, and if you haven't done so already, fill out the contact form so we can get your free discovery call scheduled and go higher up.